The atrocities that happen at these children's homes, murder, rapes, torture, children abuse in the Catholic Church, it's been happening for decades, for centuries. They've got to be accountable for the crimes that they've done.
Hi guys, and welcome back to another segment with me, Stephen Gillen. It's my great pleasure to introduce Rafael Viola. Now, Rafael, you've got a really big, amazing story, but it's a very human story. And a lot of people out there now, they're really starting to understand about what's going on behind the curtain and a lot of stuff. There's a lot more information out there, and people, but you know, they really need to know the truth. Now, you have a book. It's a very well written, very dark, very gripping book. You know, it's a bestseller. It's doing really good around the world. I would invite you really to have a look at this book. Now, I'm going to give that book over to you. Put it up there so people can see it. Now, look, just to bring people straight into this, right? This is going to be a right, emotional ride here with this, and I want you to go for it. What's the book about? Stealing lives.
It's about the cover-ups, Stephen, in the Catholic Church. From the Vatican to the children's homes, to the churches, to the archdiocese, to the cathedrals. Children abuse in the Catholic Church, it's been happening for decades, for centuries. We're not getting listened. Nobody wants to listen to us. The Catholic Church have turned their back on us. I was involved in an inquiry, the independent inquiry into child sexual abuse, and I thought we were going to get justice there, but we never. We were silenced at the inquiry, and I just wanted to say that, and tell the public the atrocities that did happen in these children's schools, these children's homes, where the Sisters Charity of St Paul's Apostle, they were nuns. There's two children's homes, Croom Court and Father Hudson's Homes. Now, there's three allegations of murders there, Steve. The children were getting raped by priests. Father Eric Taylor went to prison. He got 8 years for raping children. There was another priest at Croom Court was raping children every week. Everybody knows these people's names. The Catholic Church knows their names, the Vatican knows their names, but they're still covering up. The atrocities that happen at these children's homes, murder, rapes, torture, mental abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, spiritual abuse. It is totally like unspeakable, Steve, what happened to us at these children's homes.
You know, of course, there are a lot of instances, proven instances, by the court of law out there, very evidenced, reinforced and all that, of these things that you're talking about actually happening. Yeah. Now, I know we're not saying, anything against like the Catholic Church or all the good priests out there or none, or all the other, but this is a section of people in that institution, of course. Just like there are sections of bad people in any institution, it has to be said. Why are they covering it up? Why are they not listening to this?
How I think why they're covering up, they're still at it, they're still doing it. They're covering up, maybe it's financial, they don't want to pay out or they don't want to admit it.
I mean, who do you mean by they though, really?
Well, all of them, the Vatican. I've had meetings with the Pope Nuncio. He's the ambassador from Great Britain. Pope Francis sent him over. He came over to see me in Cathedral House in Birmingham, me and two other survivors. Now, he was sent there by Pope Francis. Pope Francis sent him over to discuss our complaints. And the Pope Nuncio, he told us that he was going to come back in September. Now, that was 4 years ago. He never come back. He said, when I go back to see Pope Francis, I'll come back, discuss it with Pope Francis, then I'll come back to and have another meeting with you and discuss the meeting with Pope Francis. Now, it was all PR stunt. It was in a tablet magazine, major breakthrough for the Pope Nuncio meeting survivors of Great Britain. But it wasn't a major breakthrough. It was a major disaster because he never got back to us. He promised us to get back to us. The Catholic Church, this just got silenced. When it's on about covering up, they still won't admit it. We've been shouting for an inquiry into Croom Court, one of these children's homes that I was at. Croom Court is a national trust. It was run by the Birmingham Archdiocese and the Sisters Charity of St Paul's Apostle. The same sisterhood that was at Father Hudson's Homes. Now, there's allegations of 2 murders of children getting murdered at Croom Court by the Sisters Charity St Paul's Apostles. Allegations of rapes, torture, murder at Croom Court. Exactly the same thing happened at Father Ezra's Homes. Father Eric Taylor, he went to prison for 8 years for raping children. The nuns got investigated for murder at Father Hudson's Homes in Birmingham. They still won't come clean. We've asked for an inquiry into the atrocities that did happen to both of these schools.
So when did you ask for this inquiry? Just to make this really, really clear to people, and so we can ascertain here, right? You know, it's very, very serious allegations, but to get them out in the right way, you have to do it in the right way, right? You know, Rafael. Yeah. Now I know you was part of another big, massive inquiry into this that cost what, £1 billion or something? You say something like that?
Quarter of a billion.
Quarter of £1 billion.
Quarter of £1 billion in 8 years.
Yeah, which is a lot of money, right? So what happened there with that inquiry, and how does that go with them not coming back with the other inquiry that you're asking for?
Well, I think we all know that the inquiry was sabotaged. The independent inquiry into child sexual abuse was sabotaged by the Catholic Church. We were silenced. The dirty tricks that were played on us at that inquiry, we got refused to hear, give our oral evidence as we were promised. 8 years we were prepared for that inquiry. Then solicitors were on £1,750 a day. And what came out of the inquiry? Like, nothing. Everything's all in my book. It tells you that the cover-ups, we were silenced, and we're still silencing now. So we've asked the inquiry, we thought the inquiry was going to do something about it, but it nothing materialised out of that inquiry. As I said, I told the inquiry, the panel, Professor Alexis J, to her face, this is a farce. It's a circus. But I'm not alone on this. They silenced a lot of people at that inquiry. Because they never gave us justice at the inquiry, we have asked for another inquiry, an independent inquiry, into Birmingham Archdiocese, where all these atrocities did happen. We were accusing murders, rapes, tortures by non-priests and staff. Now, some of the priests did go to prison there.
So when we're talking about murders, it's a very, very serious allegation that as well. So let's just unpack that a bit. What evidence is there for this stuff, for murders perpetrated by these people that you said?
John Lamb, he's dead now, he's passed away. He gave evidence at the inquiry, but there was written statements from numerous survivors who are stating this. At Croom Court, there's one of the, John witnessed a young boy, after his beating, a young boy who was stripped naked, running away. The nuns were shouting, "Don't let him get away." He was never seen again. Next morning, that boy was never seen again. 2 twins who were at Croom Court, same thing again. One of the twins was getting beaten that bad, stripped naked, that's what they always done. He jumped out a window. Now there's allegations that he died when he jumped out of that window. Them 2 twins were never seen again. Father Hudson's Homes.
There's evidence to this stuff. I mean, obviously you can verify the statements to this of what you're saying.
That's where the inquiry hushed us up, because they didn't want these evil atrocities to come out. The rapes, tortures and murders at Father Hudson's Homes, Croom Court, none of this came out. None of this came out at that inquiry. Right, and we were told that we were going to have a voice, and we wasn't, we were silenced.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have to say, this is one of the things that inquiries really, I'm not just even talking about this inquiry, but governmental inquiries, you know, and these kind of panels are set up sometimes to dilute what's actually gone on and cover up a lot of, for whatever reason, you know, and there are many reasons, but it is, and people are not stupid, you know, Rafael, they know, right? These inquiries are set up because what it does is it satisfies public opinion up to a point. Something's being done. You go through a big rigmarole, but really stuff can be doctored. I'm not saying that they all are in certain inquiries, but it leaves the scope for that to be done. Stuff can be diluted, it can be window dressed, tailored, omitted, all of this stuff. And both of us know that this goes on to serve higher powers that be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not right, of course, right? Because the truth is where the power is, and if you own the truth, then that goes a long way to stopping going back to do the same thing. That's what I certainly believe. You know, accountability. You know, accountability is a important thing, all right? Because that's where we learn not to go back, and we learn the lessons. Well, we learn the lessons. It's not that we even make a mistake. We all know that, but we learn the lessons from that to make it better, to not go back. So this is a, important point. I'm just saying about the inquiries, right? Just to say what I say about that on the inquiry. So you're saying with this £500 million that was spent, this is a hell of a lot of money, right? And resource and manpower. So, yeah, 250 million, yeah. So nothing was really done about that.
Nothing.
What was the conclusion of this after they've spent all this money then, for instance? And what was that inquiry about? It's a lot of money to be spent. So what was that inquiry about?
It was a case study into Birmingham Archdiocese. Cardinal Vincent Nichols, he's the head of the Catholic Church in England and Wales. Now, he gave evidence to that inquiry. Now, it was established that he did cover up. He was paying paedophile priests in America while they were on the run. They got tipped off by Birmingham police that they were going to investigate. I think it was Father Robson. Like, Cardinal Nichols, he was the Archbishop of Birmingham at the time. He sent him to America. Like, out the way, you better go, out the way, paid him his wages while he was led to abuse other children in America.
So do you think they've done this? I have to ask, because look, as someone who has to manage a lot of people, the head of something, you get wise to know, well, until proven guilty, obviously, we don't really know where we are. So, we come from that angle, and of course people can say things that are not true, but some things are true, is what I'm saying. So, we're saying maybe he said, right, you go, wherever until this is investigated, all right, investigation and stuff like that. I get it, right, and of course the facts are going to be, found out, right? But is there any evidence or proof of him actually colluding after knowing that he had seen point blank evidence of this abuse of people under these people's care?
Yeah, he knew about the atrocities that did happen in Birmingham, under the cloak of Birmingham Archdiocese. He resigned. Survivors and lawyers at that inquiry asked Cardinal Vincent Nichols to resign. Cardinal Vincent Nichols, the Archbishop of Westminster, he did resign. He wrote a letter to the Pope Francis. Pope Francis wrote back to him and says, no, I'm not accepting your resignation. I'll tell you when you got to go, when you actually resign. Now, when I had a meeting with the Pope Nuncio, I asked him, why is Cardinal Nichols still in power when we've asked him to resign? Lawyers and survivors are demanding his resignation. He said, Rafael, he did resign. He said he rocked Pope Francis until Pope Francis saw him resigning, using his age. He was 75, he was getting near retirement time. Pope Francis rocked back to him and said, no, you stay in your post until I tell you to go. So when I asked the Pope Nuncio about that, he's the ambassador to Great Britain. Pope Francis sent him over to have a meeting with us. But his answer was, nobody wants his job. Nobody wants his job, Rafael. He said, but don't quote me in that. And I said, well...
Makes sense.
Yeah, because nobody wants his job because nobody's clean enough. If somebody puts in this situation, they're going to be under a microscope and somebody's got to pick up. Yeah.
All right, that makes sense. So look, what we're going to do now is we're going to go a little bit into the backstory and talk about you, and your life. Tell us just a really brief thing. I know you went to prison and all that yourself. In the dark days, unfortunately, I had to sail that river myself. Went away for a long time as well. Of course, changed everything, right? But tell us, what was your journey there, so people get a little idea of your backstory and where you come from, stuff like that.
Well, I was born in Glasgow. My mum's Spanish, my dad's half Italian, half Irish. I've got 8 siblings, my mum and dad as well. We were poor. We left Glasgow in 1969 to come down to England to work in a car factory. My father, for a better job, for a better life. Right, there's a lot of people do in them days. There was a lot of work in England, but there's nothing in Glasgow. My mum can't speak English, so we ended up in England in a place called Coventry. I was 9 years of age. I didn't really fit into school. I played truant from school. That was all I'm guilty of, was playing truant at school. The social services got involved. I went to see my mother. My mum can't speak English. She can't write English, read English. She signed a piece of paper sending me off to Croom Court. Now, I was at Croom Court approximately 16 months. It was the worst time in my life. These nuns, like, no, it was a school. Well, what they said, because I had a Glaswegian accent, they said I was severely retarded because they couldn't understand me. I was a young kid, 9 years of age, from my back streets of Glasgow, a broad Glaswegian accent. So they used that as an excuse. They sent me to Croom Court. But the atrocities that I seen there, Stephen, was unbelievable. Honest to God, it was unspeakable. These kids were feeble-minded, severely retarded. Like, no, they were getting raped, they were getting beaten. Like, no, you could, 150 kids. If you dropped a pen, you get a beating for it. Now, I ran away several times from it, but every time I ran away, right, the police would pick me up, or the social services would drag me back. Even the police, when I was in the police station, when they picked me up, I'm only a boy, 9, 10 years of age, they give me a slap. Like, wasting your police time, these people are looking after you. But I'm telling them, I said, look, I'm getting beaten here, they're going to kill me. Like, no, they did try to kill me at Croom Court. They waterboarded me, they caught me smoking. And because I denied it, they unfilled the sink up with water and dumped me, then tried to ram a piece of soap in my mouth. Now, vividly, I can remember, when the snorts coming out my nose, it was proper waterboarding me. Then I was dragged up to the Mother Superior, stripped, whipped, locked me in covers. For days at a time, like, pitch black and cleaning covers, like, with no clothes on, like, call me names, take us out for walks, the kids out for walks. They treated us like cattle. They take a branch off a tree, like, and if we spoke or got out of line, they whack you with a stick. Like, but there was these places, there was these people on this earth, or the nuns who, I've had dealings with the Christian brothers, a deal of sale. But these nuns, these nuns, honest to God.
Look, listen, let me say, guys, all this is in this book as well, stealing lives. And it's a serious thing. I mean, it's why I wanted to take this interview as well and do this interview. Because, as a journalist myself, an investigative journalist, I've been on many of the top platforms. Some of you know, I've done a lot of stuff with Sky History, Netflix, filming another big series with someone very, very big in December in Sky History, right? Deep dives into stuff, right? I go for the facts and I go through the bullshit. That's none of the nonsense. But for me, I grew up in Ireland, right, in Belfast, in the middle of the Troubles, and I had my own experience of the Christian brothers, and they was brutal. They really was. And you had the same, right? And the nuns, they was brutal as well. Now they've got to keep order and all that, right? But it was a lot more than that. It was brutal, right? It was beatings. And then, of course, when I went into the care system, it's all in my book as well, Extraordinary, The Search for a Life Worth Living. And that's going to be a documentary with a major platform coming out soon. We're filming it now, and we're filming the next main body of it in January, right? That's my book, and it's in there as well about me. They used to lock me in cupboards in the boiler rooms, like with rats and all that. They used to smash my head off concrete walls, drag me along, concrete, really, all of that stuff. So I have an experience of this myself. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's still rife there though, Stephen. It's still happening. And they're still covering up. I speak to so many survivors, on my travels, on this journey. And then the care system, that has to change as well, because I was in a care system. I ended up in a Tenno Assessment Centre. That was in Birmingham. Now that was a secure unit, secure unit. But something, I've got the papers in the house. 28 children ran out, absconded in 1 month from that place. So I've got what I've got. It's a list, and the names are all blocked off. But my name's on it twice. I ran away twice in that month. 28 children. Now, when it went to court, come to light in 1992, there's over 60 cases of sexual abuse 8 members of staff there went to prison at Technical Assessment Centre. Now, that should have been spotted when 28 children run away from a secure unit in 1 month. They should have had a look at it.
But look, I've been through this same thing, and this is why, I know you're telling the truth with this, right? I've seen them, and I know, the authenticity of what you're saying. So look, you went on, and I know you've had this unfortunately sets the scene of failure and trauma and anger and all of this stuff, and real personality and behaviour issues. Even eating disorders for a lot of children who go through this.
A lot of people like myself, they suffer from physical, like heart attacks, osteoporosis. I've got heart attacks, all sorts, because it's a trauma. It's a trauma when you're a kid. We're supposed to be nurtured as a kid. Our brain, our body ain't functioning properly. When you're terrified, when you wake up in the morning and you're terrified to the last minute till you go to bed at night. You go to night and you're crying. I'm a little boy, I'm 9 years of age. I'm hearing all these, Christian brothers dragging kids out of bed. I'm praying underneath a blanket. I say, please God, don't let it be me.
Yeah. I know. Look. I tell you, I'm really, really there with you. So you went on and you ended up in prison after.
Yeah.
I mean, I did too. Before I changed my life, right? And not to be. I'm accountable for everything I've done, right? But it sets the scene, right? And it's because you don't know any better. I was an organised crime. I was groomed into that, but I had the history of all that stuff that I had behind me that really positioned me for all of that stuff. I'm guessing it was the same for you. So you went to prison. You was a Cat A and all this stuff.
Yeah, twice on about Cat A. I was an alcoholic, a drug addict, well into cocaine and drinking all that. But I don't know. It's the same as you, Steve. I've turned my life around. 15 years now, I've been clean, no drugs, no alcohol. I support other survivors. I'm so passionate for what I do. This journey, it's given me a new leaf of life.
Yeah, and a good purpose for something good.
I'm sad, but I feel happy what I do. When I go out and I see homeless people and I talk to them, I give them a signed copy, free signed copy of my book, and I want to hear their stories. I want to comfort them and say, look, you're not alone. We're not alone in this game. Everywhere I go, there's so many people. This is affected, people in children's homes or the Catholic churches.
And I think. Look. The thing as well is that I know that it will still go on in some way, and I know that this is something that still goes on. I know for sure in some places, right? And I'm certainly involved with some organisations around this, trying to protect children and other stuff. Me personally, which I won't go into, right? But they're out there, and I've done interviews, and I do work behind the scenes with this because of my own journey. The same as yourself. I'll give a shout out to them, all these good people trying to protect children and make things better, right? So look, I want to go to solution now. So I can see what drives you, but let me ask you in a really short way. So what really drives you now in your life after all you've been through? What is it that really drives you now?
Getting my story out there, not just my story, but other survivors' voices out there. Survivors have got voices, nobody will listen to us, the government won't listen to us. We have to bring mandatory reporting back into this country. We've got it in Ireland, we've got it in many other countries, but mandatory reporting don't exist in this country. Mandatory reporting, I'll go back to the Church of England, the Archbishop Welby, Justin Welby. Now, he knew about cover-ups in the Church of England in 2013. Now, I think it's Smythe, the solicitor. He was abusing children. Now, he knew what was happening. And when Smythe moved to America, he went then to abuse more children, over 100 children. So if mandatory reporting was brought into force, Justin Welby, he was obligated to report that.
And this would be more of a monitoring system, right?
Yeah.
That should be a safeguard for a duty of care if vulnerable people under the care of the local authority or whatever it is. Well, look, in a really simple way, this should be brought in. Anything that makes things better, and can mitigate this stuff. and can monitor, and not just safeguard people, but safeguard everyone involved in that, has to be a good thing, right?
Mandatory reporting, we've been campaigning. This is at the inquiry. The inquiry, they've recommended 19 recommendations to the government, to the Tory government. Like, no, they ain't done nothing. We're campaigning again to the Labour government, mandatory reporting. Like, you've got to have mandatory reporting. Like you don't have to report. If you see abuse happening in the general, you can just turn a blind eye about it. But and say, oh no, there's nothing to do with me. No, I ain't saying nothing. But if mandatory reporting comes in, especially in these children's homes, if you see abuse, it's your duty. You have to report it.
Yeah.
If you don't report it, you're in trouble.
I think, me personally, in the modern day age, that this would be a process anyway, and it's used everywhere else in corporate structures, work. As a safeguard for everyone, which is only a good thing, But look, listen, as a last little thing, and it's been really, really good to have you here, and go through the story. This is amazing content, and we've really condensed it all to really get down to it. I mean, thank you for coming. What is the next steps for you now, and what do you want to see go on here with this?
Well, I want the Sisters Charity of St Paul's Apostle to come clean on all the atrocities that harm to the children under the Archdiocese cloak. They haven't come clean. Nobody's ever mentioned these nuns. The Sisters Charity of St Paul's Apostle, they're on par with the Magdalene sisters. They're totally evil. They've got to be accountable for the crimes that they've done, the atrocities that happened to us children at Father Hudson's homes and at Croom Court. Until then, they've not even apologised. They don't even know. They've gone like, oh, the inquiry's dealt with that people. Yeah,
and let's be clear. Again, we're not talking about this whole order and everyone and the whole. We're talking about a targeted group of people where there is a lot of evidence against them, a lot of reporting, a lot of victims where there has been an inquiry and other things, and you have a lot of evidence there, and key witness statements, and there was, and some of this stuff really you're saying it hasn't been attended to in the right way.
It's the same as the De La Salle Christian Brothers. Now, when I've complained about them, about St Gilbert's approved school, where there's been hundreds and hundreds of allegations of rapes and torture. Well, you know yourself, the Christian Brothers, they're pure brutal people. No, when I complained against them, I got a letter after the lawyers. No, but the lawyers turn and says, it's nothing to do with the Christian Brothers to De La Salle. They said, they were just employees. If you've got a problem, it's the Home Office's problem. And I've gone, well, listen, the Home Office never raped us. The Home Office never battered us, they never tortured us. I said, so you get a get out of jail card free.
Yeah, that's not the way this works.
I'm just an employee.
Yeah, 100%. That's not going to cut the mustard, and of course these are some really brutal stuff have been done under the guise of many things. Like I say, I've had my own experiences of this, and like many other people, many documented, and that's why I'm very happy to have this interview with you, and get your story so we can really unpack this.
Survivors are getting silenced from the Catholic Church, and that's God's honest truth. Ask any survivors who have dealings with the Catholic Church, they're silencing us, they're re-traumatising us, they're treating us like, they assassinate us. We complain, they block us, they assassinate our characters. The only survivors that they will listen to is their hand-picked survivors. Survivors who speak out, the Catholic Church don't want to know, they don't want to help us. And it's not right. Until they change, survivors will keep on trapping their doors at the cathedrals.
Well, I definitely think this is a big issue, very, very dark issue, and there needs to be more inquests, more transparency, and everything around this issue. There's a lot of evidence, and of course, we don't want terrible stuff like this to be happening to our children right here, right now, and keep going. Look, it's been really, really good to have you, to have you on. You're a top man. I'm very sorry for all the things that you went through. I respect everything that you do and the heart you have today, and everything else. I hope you enjoyed that. Quite a dark story, but a story that definitely needs to be told. I'm just going to say about this book. A lot of people out there, they know this stuff is whitewashed, and they know we can't. We have to attack these issues. And make sure they don't happen. So our children are protected, especially the vulnerable out there. This is Rafael's book, Stealing Lives. Really go and have a look at this, guys. I urge you to read this. It's amazing. There's a lot of witness testimony in there, big names, and it's a lot of verified stuff. It's a dark tale that you can't miss. And of course, my own book here, Extraordinary. And I'm pulling this one up because, I had a long history in, organised crime. Went to prison for a long time. Changed my life. Been nominated for International Peace Prize, which is the other side of it. Going on to be a TV personality, build businesses and do many other things. But I had my own trauma, my own dark past and story, which has been made into a documentary now. So this one here, Extraordinary, Stephen Gillen, The Search for a Life Worth Living. This is another one, if you're interested in that, go and have a look at that too. It's some tale. And it has some of the remnants about some of this stuff that we've talked today with Rafael in this interview. I hope you're well out there. You take care. I wish you and your family all the very best, for the up and coming holiday. Let me know what you think in the comments below about all this. If you have any questions, anything that you would like me to look at or investigate or do videos on, right? And some stuff like that. You let me know. I hope you're well now. Take care. God bless.